So this is the second class for Mahjong. 15th of March. No, not 15th of March. That was supposed to be the first day, right? 29th of March. Finally made it. And if it does happen though, we'll have class every day. But if we get rained out, I'll do it by Zoom. Okay? Because we can't go really much past the last day we're scheduled for, right? I don't know if I can try and do it. I don't know if I can actually get them both in, right? I think even if I kind of take out one of these and sort of mesh them together. So hope I'm directly sharing my screen right now. Okay. So what we're going to cover is scoring. So limit hands and common hands. Most of the hands are common hands. Basic strategy, which I see a lot of you guys already employing, right? And choosing which ones to hold on to and which ones to get rid of. Advanced strategy. Should you play for quick mahjongs, or should you try and go for the larger points? Right? In classical Chinese mahjong, well, in some other mahjongs, they only pay the person that gets the mahjong. So that's why you want to push for that really quickly. In other ones, like classical Chinese mahjong, you settle with the dealer, the person who wins, and then everybody sells among themselves. Okay, so that kind of encourages you to try for some of the larger point hands. Okay. Advanced strategy, where you're playing defensively, and even though this is basically considered an offensive game, you just push to get what you need to make your hand. There are times you want to play defensively, especially when you get near the end, and especially if when we start playing and we use the rule that the person that gives it the tile to the person at mahjong pays double. That's why you might want to play defensively. Okay. We're zooming, I think. Yeah. So what are the rules? Rule number one is one. Okay, and that's Patty and Gwen and James. You guys didn't get to see. Okay. They all introduce themselves. Okay. And what's rule number two?
Have fun.
Huh?
House rules.
House rule, exactly. Whatever the host or the house says they are. Right? So today we're going to basically cover how to score. Okay? And in classical Chinese mahjong, that usually means taking the base value of a hand and multiplying it times the fans. Okay? Oh, wow. So in classical Chinese mahjong, there is a two-tiered scoring system. You calculate the base value, and you multiply it times the fans. There are some mahjongs that only pay fans, right? They figure out how many fans you have, and that's how they score it. So this is the basic scoring right here. This is the how you calculate base value points. It's pretty easy. Some of you guys had basically, how can I do that? Let's see. I can do that. But I like to see my face. Okay, so this is the base value points. Right? Pretty easy, got it? Oh, come on. It's simple. So we'll break it down, okay? Make it easier for you. So if you're dealt this hand as the dealer, as East, which tile do you discard?
One bamboo.
One bamboo. One.
The numbers on.
No. This is not a Jewish mahjong set. This is like.
What I see, 1 and 9. I see a couple of 9s.
Right, one night, one away.
One circle. One circle.
Okay, one circle, one bamboo so far. Okay, you guys all have your opinions, right? You want to get rid of? So. That's right. You don't discard anything, right? It's mahjong, right? It's mahjong. Orphans and angels. So that's why rule number 2, know what the house rules are.
Yeah.
So there are certain hands that are limit hands.
Yeah.
Not every group plays limit hands, right? But the ones that do, someone just kind of add them slowly. Somebody joins the group and says, hey, we play this as limit hand in Singapore. So they add it. But these are pretty much the ones that we saw scrolling at the beginning of the class. Those are the standard ones, basically. Okay? Yeah,
I'm sorry, what is meant by a limit and, I mean, just real quick.
Okay, so when we play mahjong, we usually set a limit, like 1,000 points, okay?
Yes.
And a limit hand is one that you don't have to score.
Oh.
You know, automatic score is either 1,000 points, if that's a limit, or half of it in some cases, or double in some other cases. Okay? So, how did you learn this, Margie?
Nicole Long.
Oh, okay, yeah, this is in her book right here, right? Yep. And then Susan and Gwen are reading,
Heavy.
yeah, Evie Wong, yeah, Evie or Evie Wong from San Francisco. And in terms of the rules and stuff, she's more complete than Nicole, right? Nicole tries to show out other variants also. But even Evie Wong's book isn't complete, right? And she's ambiguous a couple times. So,
Question.
no, there ain't no stupid questions.
Well, I missed the class about how to read the Chinese times, the Chinese without
Oh,
numbers.
okay.
So do you have a resource for that?
It's on the website.
I know it.
Okay. So yeah, you can go there. It explains how 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 for the characters. You can try and remember them, right?
Yeah.
Like the 1, 2, and 3 are easy because they have the bars, right? And 9, I think it's pretty easy because it looks like an N, right? And 8 is one that's pretty common. It looks like a little hat, hachi for 8 in Japanese. And then the winds are a little bit more difficult to remember, right? But I remember things like the third one from the left. Some people see a W in that for the west wind, right? Different ways to do it. And then the dragons, etc. And this one right here is June coming in the door right now. Okay, you dealt this one as east. Which tile do you discard? So, how can it be mahjong? You don't have sets of 3 or 4. Pairs, right? 7 sisters, all pairs, different names for it, right? So again, know the limit hands, know which ones you guys are playing, right? This is not a standard classical Chinese mahjong hand. but every group that plays classical Chinese Mahjong I've seen plays this as a limit hand. 1,000 points. Yeah. Oh, in case I forget to say it also, if you're playing the base value times the fans and it comes out to more than your table limit, that's all you get is the table limit. Might come out to like 1,400 with all the fans. But it's going to be just scored as 1,000, right? So I'm sorry, in this case right here, we play this one right here as a special half limit hand. Okay. The ones that are full limit hands, oh, just a reminder, know the house rules, right? So the other ones that are similar to Seven Sisters, and these are all one suit, right? Except for Winds and Dragons, maybe. Right? And that pays a table limit. And then if you have honors tiles in there too, right? That pays the table limit. So ones and nines of the suits are special tiles, or terminals, right? So you've got 1 and 9 of mon or character, not crack, right? I wasn't hard enough on you guys in the first class. Yeah, so this is not, yeah, this is classical as opposed to American, right? And then the dots or the coins of 1 and 9 or 1, and then the 9 bamboo. And then which one is this, Meredith? Northwood. See, she can read the kanji, that's why. Yeah. Then the green dragon, yeah, funny looking green dragon, and the red dragon, right? So because these are all royals, this one pays the full table limit. Okay. So on our website, you can find tabs for scoring, limit hands, common hands, base value, and multiplier. Right? And if you took the class last time around, in the fans, it no longer says for all child hand, page 64. Okay.
Multipliers.
So we'll get to that right now. Okay. Okay. So the limit hands. So 4 Kongs. So you don't have to score these. And what we have following here are either full limit or half limit hands. Okay, so all the hands are limit hands unless otherwise stated. So 4 Kongs, 4 sets of Kongs. How many tiles do you end up with in your hand?
18.
Normally 14.
14 typically.
Now you have how many though? 18, right? You have one more tile for each Kong that you have. Because when you replenish your Kong, you're drawing from the flower wall. If you have your 4 Kongs, but those are concealed, that's another limit hand, right? So nothing displayed. We saw the orphan and hands, orphan and angels. And basically it's one of these 13 tiles plus one that matches any of these guys right here. Okay. All terminal hands with pungs, including an eye that is a terminal. The big 4 winds, and those are 4 pungs of the 4 winds, and the eye can be any pair. And the little 4 winds has 1, 2, 3 of the winds as pungs, and then 1 eye. Okay. That's also a wind. Okay. So, but the big 4 winds, you get 4 pungs of each of the winds, right? And the little 4 winds, 3 pungs plus an eye. That has to be that has to be the 4th wind. Okay, big 3 dragons. So this has to be a set somehow, right? So the ones that are grayed out, So they're not special eyes, they're not special sets right here. This alone will get you the hand, right? And little three dragons,
Okay, well, I'm there.
and all winds and dragons. Nine gates is interesting, right? You see, you have three for the 1 and 3 for the 9. And between that, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, wow.
And then a pair for that middle guy, right? This is your eye right here. The 5.
Yeah. Yeah, really, yes.
You have to have the chow things. So,
As long as
so I mean, it could be,
Better than EE.
right? You could have it as a 1 as your eye, right? And then you have 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 7, 8. 1, 1, yeah.
But it's almost 1 and 9.
Okay, I'm sorry, 2, sorry, 2. You could have this as a 2, and then your eye would be the 2s. And then 3, 4, 5 would be 1 child. And then okay. 6, 7, 8 would be the other child.
Does it have to be that the 5 is a pair? I mean.
So you need an eye, right?
Be the pair and, okay.
So in other words, you can do it from the either middle like this or each of the 2
Okay.
simple ones.
Yes,
So you can do it with the 2, do it with the 8,
yes,
you can do it with the 5, but you can't do it with the 3.
because you need it.
Okay.
Why not?
Why not?
Because that 3 would be part of the chow and the eye. It can't be both.
So the one that might have to be palms. Yeah.
Right, one that-
Everything else can work out as they do.
As a chow, right? So it's 2, 5, or 8.
Could you, oh, 2 and 9.
Oh, I see. So-
Got it, right? Why you can't do that? Now, heavenly hand is when you're the dealer and you're dealt a mahjong.
Yeah.
They're really rare, right?
And it's not really rare. So the dining table limit is 2,000. They have to really. 2,000? Where they have a big hand.
1,000, oh, double table, yeah, 1,000, two times that, 2,000, double table. But essentially, it's the same, well, we'll talk about that later, yeah. And then earthly hand, if you're not the dealer, but you have in the first round, you get a mahjong, right?
Have you ever seen that happen?
I haven't seen that in Hawaii. Also, so they're playing mahjong in other places too, right? You go to Aina Haina, and then who sent me that? Sharon, you sent me that, I think, right? And fish cake on Wednesday nights, right? Yeah. So down the street from you, not too far from you, right? Okay. So they're so I don't know how organized they are. They just said, bring your mahjong set and we'll learn. Okay, and just start it.
It's Chinese.
Probably Chinese.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So these are different versions of the 7 sisters we looked at, right? And then this jade hand is not a true classical Chinese mahjong hand. Okay. So that's what we're doing in this class right here. And you can't do it with all mahjong sets because some of these tiles will have different colors on them besides just green or blue. Midori is kind of halfway between blue and green in Japanese, right? And so like which one is it? The 6, right? Could have some red in the middle of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you can't do a 6, and some of the 8 also has red on it. Right? So only in some sets can you do it. And we play is one of the hands listed in Nicole's is also you can also find on the internet. But I think it's a neat one. Okay. So there are lots of other limit hands. Some of them are in Nicole's book, some of them you find on the internet. What is Marge, what is the plum blossom on the roof? That's one of them. That's in her book right there, right? They also have things like plucking the tile from the, plucking something from the sea. Right? But I'm.
The winner tiles, 5 circles. In the round 4, 5, 6. I'm sorry, let me show you the best. When you stand it.
Okay. So why are they lemon hands? They're hard to make, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, really tough, especially the ones like Seven Sisters. You can't take a discard tile to make it. Unless it's the very last one you need, right?
Oh,
All the other ones have to be drawn from the wall,
really?
right? You can't call.
I should two questions.
You can't call calling, you can't. Right? So they're harder to make, and also they may contain noble tiles. Okay. So what are these things, noble tiles, right? Well, first of all, what's a mahjong? 4 sets plus an eye. You guys all know that, right? What's a set? 3 kinds of sets. Right. Or has anyone watched Sumo Do, Sumo Don't? Either the movie or the TV series? Sumo Do, Sumo Don't. So remember Shall We Dance, the original Japanese version? Masayuki Kuo was the one who directed that. So it was his baby. And when I was in Japan like 25 years ago, one of my friends says, well, if you like that movie, Sumo Do, Sumo Don't's even better. Okay. And the TV series, which you can find on, I think it's Disney, they're Disney or Amazon, is pretty true to the movie. In there, they have part of their adventures in terms of forming a sumo club. They run into a group of old men, they're teaching kids. And they're playing mahjong in the bar. And they're calling out the Cantonese names for these, instead of Chow, Peng and Kong, they're calling all the Cantonese names. And then they apply that to sumo. Sumo Do, Sumo Don't. Hi. Go there. Yeah, yasashi desu. Okay, common hands. So we saw the limit hands, right? And those are again on the website. But common hands are usually what happens. Right? And how do we calculate those things? Let's go back to that base values.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a little more time to look at it this time right here, right? But you don't have to memorize all this. Right? Because we're going to show you how you can do it without memorization. This is all you have to memorize. Expose simple Peng. So simple being 2 through 8 of a suit. Scores 2 points. And expose simple Kong. Scores 8 points. That's 4 of a kind. Harder to get, right? So if it has to be a royal eye to get 2 points. And flowers are 4 points each. Okay. So this is what these guys are. Simple are the 2 through 8s, the suits. Terminals are the terminal tiles of the suits, 1s or 9s. Okay. Nobles include terminals and the winds and dragons. And royals just a subset of nobles. And so royals are dragon, seat wind, and round wind. Okay. So there's no terminals in the royals. And the seat wind and round winds are not all the winds, but just the one that apply to the round of the wind, or the round of your seat. Okay.
Blowing my mind.
So to remember this, you can remember royals plus terminals equals nobles. And you might think rotten, or you might think rattan or something, and that'll help you remember. RTN. So royals plus terminals equal to nobles. Yeah, rat and, yeah. Okay, got it, Hope?
Yes.
So how many of you guys know these terms already? Simples and terminals and nobles and royals? Some of you guys from the first class kind of figured them out, right?
We were trying to figure it out.
Okay, and I figured it out now, okay.
C means if I'm a east, I got, then it's, if I'm designated a west,
Right,
then the sequence would be west.
west wind for you.
Round is everybody else, east, north and south. Okay.
Right. So if you get the right tongue or Kong and seat wind, you know, it's better for you, or an eye also. Okay. So example hands. Practice scoring. Those are all the tiles. Okay, let's see, have this right here. You have an exposed child. How many points is that? 0, right? What about a concealed child? 0, still 0, right? Still 0. Exposed tongue. 2. This is exposed simple tongue, right? Not a terminal number. So 2.
Yeah.
That's one of the only numbers we need to memorize from that table right here, right? Exposed tongue. 8, right? So when it comes to tongues and kongs, I thought I formatted it differently. The above base values are all that you need to memorize, all you have to memorize, okay? Okay, now this time instead of an exposed simple tongue, we have a concealed simple tongue. So all I have to do is double it. Right, for 4. And a concealed Kong, simple Kong. 16, just double it. Right? Exposed, what is this thing? Colonel, which is a noble, right? Exposed noble.
Is it noble?
Is it like Alfred Nobel or is it noble? Noble as in royal. Can
It's a 1.
you guys see that?
So it's a term. So it's also.
Yeah, so terminal is one of the type of nobles. Nobles. Okay, so it, because it's exposed, it's a noble as opposed to simple, it's double.
Right.
So we're 4 now, right? 2 times 2 is 4.
Oh, I don't know.
You got it? Confused with?
Because we thought, noble equals winds and dragon. And then.
And also
And also one.
terminals.
Also one. Oh, okay.
Mhm.
That's 3. Thank you.
Right? Terminals, winds and dragons for the nobles, right? And then that royal term is something just to make it easier to talk about that subset.
How many points is that? Yeah, how many points?
So what is an exposed simple? 2, right? So an exposed noble is twice as much, right? Maybe I should make this available.
So all the terminals and the nobles, I mean, they're all,
So the nobles are the group that they usually talk about, right? With all the terminals, all the winds, all the dragons,
right,
right? And then Evie created a subset called the royals. which does make it easier to talk about all these. Right? And so terminals are ones and nines of the suits.
But if there were nobles, why do you have to? If the terminals and the royals are all nobles is the umbrella for royals and terminals, why do you have to break them down? Does that make sense? Why do you?
Yeah,
have to
it makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Because when we talk about other things, it'll make it easier, okay? Like one of those things is your seat wind and your round wind, okay? So, can you guys see that from the back right there? An exposed noble pung scores twice as much as an exposed simple pung.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay,
Those nobles.
how much is it for here?
Suppose that way.
Right, exposed, another example of the noble. Okay. Also, this wrong, this one is wrong. I don't know where that came from.
Now you got, so was that over eight? Yeah.
Another example of an exposed
Drag.
royal pong, right? Okay, an exposed Kong. How many points is this? So a simple exposed Kong is 8. And this one is a royal or noble.
This is noble. Oh, noble, yeah.
So twice as much, 2 times 8 is 16.
16. So the 32.
No, it's so an exposed simple Kong is 8.
8, right. A
And
concealed
this-
Kong is 16. So the concealed Kong and the noble Kong is 16.
Right, 16. So 2 times 8, right?
Okay.
So then it doubles again when they go concealed, right?
Oh, so it goes 32 with the concealed.
So this is a concealed noble Kong.
Community.
So first of all, a simple exposed is how much? 2. A noble is twice that. And then concealed. Twice and twice, right?
The difference between, there's a difference between royal and noble and the scoring. Is there a
So
difference between
nobles are all the
all?
terminals, yeah, all of them, right? It's a big category.
Yeah.
And then the royal is like a subset of it.
But is there a price of difference?
No,
Is the
there's-
scoring different, like between a noble and a royal?
Well, sometimes royals apply, but the nobles don't, the rest of the nobles don't. Okay. Okay, well, sometimes terminals don't apply, but now the other ones do, so those are the royal, right? A concealed,
So.
so how do you figure this one out?
Yes, it's 32, right?
Wow, that was quick.
That's
Now,
what it's saying.
so an exposed
Concealed royal.
symbol is.
That's
8, right? And then if it's a noble or royal noble, then it's twice that.
Oh, it's noble, that royal?
16, right?
Noble.
In sign language like that. And then concealed twice that, 32. Right, so 32. Okay. So the last thing you guys need to know about the base value points, the royal eye scores 2 base points. Right? And each flower scores 4 base points. Okay, but these are just the base points, right? So what do? You add them up, you round up to the nearest 10th. And then you add 30 if you got a mahjong. Right? Okay. Oh, what am I doing here? Yeah, okay. So yeah, the 2 things to remember. take this one. Okay, simple Pong worth 2 points, a simple Kong is worth 8 points. Okay. You double if it's concealed, double if it's the noble. Okay,
You double the. Unsold is concealed and double. Then you double.
double it right,
Okay,
compared to a simple,
okay,
right? So it's pretty easy, you don't have to memorize that table.
yeah.
Just remember this right here. Okay. So again, add a base value points and round to nearest 10. If you mahjong, you add 30. If you didn't mahjong, you still settle with each other, but you don't add the 30 points for not getting that mahjong. Right? Okay. So any questions about the base value? Just takes a little bit of practice, but it's pretty easy though. Okay. Okay, this is actually a little bit harder right here. Okay, are the fans. Sometimes you see it spelled with 2 A's. Okay? It's the same thing. And this is what they are. Got it? Well, the best way to learn all these is to break them up into groups, okay? So the base values are easy compared to the fans. So one way you can get a fan is when you declare mahjong, and if it's self-drawn from the dragon's head or the flower wall, right? So not from a discard. You can declare mahjong from the wall, taking that, or from the dragon's head. Oh, is that what it is?
Oh, I bet.
At least not mosquito. Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
That's a big fly.
And you also get 1 fan from robbing a Kong. It's got a big fly squire.
What does that mean, Robin?
The Kong, okay, so yeah, you should know, you were in the 2nd class. The guys there. So if someone has an exposed Pong, you can add to it and make it a Kong if you self-draw that tile. Okay. So you take it from there, you put it with your Pong, and you try and make a Kong out of it, but somebody says, mahjong. Yeah, first chase that fly out. What do you mean? You know how they do with the fish ponds, right? Everybody starts at one end, they pop you in the water. Scare that fly out. That's called robbing a Kong. Someone's gonna make a Kong by self-drawing that tile to extend their Pong to a Kong. But if someone can declare mahjong, that's 1 fan.
But you can only do that if it's not something you can expose Pong to your Pong, right? Generally, you can't add little Pong to make it a Pong.
You can if you self-draw the tile.
At any time.
In time of the game. Yeah, so if it's, you can't do it from taking a discard, right?
Is somebody else who beat your phone? No,
Probably.
you do. Oh, it's only you, yes, you had a phone, and then you picked it, and said, oh, yeah.
Everybody understand that part?
No, it says.
No? If you don't, yeah, speak up.
It's the same player. So rather than means. So if you, during the game, not in my job, if you pull a tile and then another person has a you can make a song.
Oh, no, just for your own. Your
Or
own.
just for your own.
Pong, right.
So,
Okay. So in other words, somebody draws that 4th tile for your exposed Pong to make a Kong. They can play it safely because they know you can't take it. Okay?
So it's not bad if you, let's say, let's say you declared a tie and you called the tile for Pong, that would not be a fail. But if you took a tile and made it. If you took a tile, if you took a tile and made it a Kong, that would be a fan. If you took a tile and made it a Kong, that would not be a fan. And if you
So,
wanted to.
no, so it's, when somebody declares mahjong.
Yeah.
when they steal that fourth tile from you,
right?
they get the fan. You don't
But if
get
they only
anything.
stole a third tile and then expose, that would not be. So it makes
No, not a
sense.
fan. Yeah, I think so. I think I understand. No, it's not a fan.
Then,
And-
let's say I have two twos, right? Somebody puts out in my hand, somebody puts out a, let's say it's a two dot, somebody puts out a two dot, a two, circle. I call that two circle, expose the pug.
Right.
That would not be a fan. Because it's only
Not a fan.
exposing a pug, it's not stealing, it's not robbing or a pug.
Right.
Right? Is that
So
right?
it's not a fan. Yeah, it's only when someone declares mahjong by doing that fourth tile. Okay? Gail, you got it? Okay, so flowers, they're pretty straightforward also. So you guys know how the game is played, right? You have rounds, at least 4 rounds. And in each, so east, west, east, south, west, and north, right? And then the east person is the dealer. Once they lose, it goes to the next person, so they could go on a couple times if they keep winning, right? And the east gets rotated. And then once everybody has had a chance to be the dealer and that last person that was originally north loses, then it goes to the next round. So it starts the east round, then it goes to the south round. Okay? So with the flowers, the easiest way to get the fan, to get one fan for your seed flower. There's 2 of those, right? There's 2 sets of flowers. So, they'll have 2 sets of number or colored numbers on it. Like maybe a red and a black or something. So, to get a flower garden means that you have all of that one color, the 4 that are black and 4 that are red. That'll get you 2 fans. But as your seed flower, if you get, let's say your north, and you get the north flower, right? So same thing, east, south, west, north, right? Is 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
If you get that 4th one, you get 2 of them, like the black one, and the red one. That's 3 fans right there. Okay. And then the 3rd one is just kind of a combination of the 2 above. The flower garden, plus you get another seed flower. You get the 2 plus 1 is 3 points, 3 fans.
Okay, got it. Circulate.
Eloise, swatting the fly or you had a question, no question, right? Okay. Okay, royals. Get a pung or kong of dragon or the round wind or the seat wind, that gives you a fan. And then 2 fans, if you get both the round and the seat wind, less your golden.
Yeah.
Right? That gets you 2 fans. All pretty straightforward so far, right? But yeah, we got the tables, right? Or I don't know what page it's in, but it's in Evie's book, pretty much the fan, yeah. So chows are a little more interesting. Chows are, you're trying to get no points. So when you have flowers in them, that's points, right? Those are 4 points made for each flower. Page 69, Audrey. Yeah. Okay. So all chow pure hand. So when you declare mahjong, it doesn't count when you aren't declaring mahjong. Is if you have all chows, no fans, no flowers, right? And no royal eyes. That'll get you 2 fans. Okay? But if you do have a chow with flowers, that's 1 fan. Okay, so the more flowers you have, the basically either zero flowers or some flowers. You actually reduces your the value of your hand because you only get one fan instead of two.
So. No points, if you declare mahjong, is that 30?
Right, 30,
That's it.
and you get two fans, so that's 30 times 2 times 2,
So it's a multiplier.
120, right?
Okay.
Well, we'll make it easy for you. Right?
Sorry, sorry, I wanted to ask a question about that. When you say pure hand, do you mean all one suit or all chow?
All chows with no point.
So it doesn't matter.
I don't think it has to be pure. I don't think so. Let's see.
So it's all
Right,
We said it was nothing.
right.
Right, chows are normally nothing, right? Zero.
Okay. I got you. So,
Yeah, it doesn't have to be, pure can be mixture of suits. Pure mixture of suits, okay, yeah.
Yeah. But if you have no points, it doesn't matter how many bands you have, it's not.
Well, no point, but if you declare mahjong,
Yeah.
so that'd be 120 right there. Pretty good.
Double 32.
You okay? And flush is all suits. I've seen some of those in this group right here, actually, right? And
What is all?
same suit, all the same suit.
All the same.
Right.
Whatever it is, childhood.
Flush or chow or pung or kong, right? All the same suit. Right? So you get fans for that. And you can also have, you don't have to get all the way in one suit if you have dragons and winds or your other ones, right? Then the combination hand. So you don't really need this category, it's just a combination of the other categories we talked about already. But realize you can get more than one fan for these different groups of things, right? So the five hands are all pungs and the same suit. So remember we had the all pungs before, right? And the same suit, then that's 2 + 3 is 5 hands. So et cetera, right here, right? So combination of fans. Okay. So again, this is on the website. It's pretty much like from Evie's book. And so putting it all together, you just multiply you calculate your base value, right? You add up all the points, you round to the next 10. If you mahjong, you know, 30 points. If you didn't mahjong, you don't get those 30 points. And you multiply times your fans. So if you have one fan, that means it doubles your base value. Okay, if you're a mathematician, then E and then BV times 2 exponent 1.
Yeah.
Right? So I think it's serious, actually, right? Yeah, right? So-
synapses,
So they're laughing because they don't get it. So 2 fans, right? Base value times 2 times 2. Or base value is 2 to the exponent of 2, right? Which is 4, right? All the way down, exponent. So you can get more than 5 fans, right? You can get more than that. That's possible. You could end up more than the table limit. And if you do end up with more than table limits, it's only the table limit. Okay? Okay, so let's see. Check my notes, make sure I didn't forget anything.
I have something.
Yes, of course.
So on each of the Mahjong bags in the cabinet comes out, I printed this inside. So
Okay,
it's in each bag.
but I think that's on the website.
Changing it.
Yeah, I did, they changed it. Was that recently? If you did it within the last couple of days,
Oh.
I made some minor
This
kind
is
of,
the, March 5th, I did it.
yeah, so that's,
I have to update it.
yeah.
Okay.
I think on that page, it probably says, we're all chow hand. I think it says page 64 or something, right? Yeah, so this, I filled that out. I put all that in.
Okay.
Okay, so that's all there is to scoring common hands in classical Chinese Mahjong. Okay. It just takes a little bit of practice. But it's not that difficult, really, right? The easiest ones are limit hands. Boom, you're there, right? And rule number 2, know what the house limit hands are. Okay? So, whoa, we did this quicker than I expected it to be done.
Then take coffee break, coffee's done.
Yeah, coffee break, and we can set up tables, we gotta play too, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 22. Okay.